You're listening to the More Than a Worship Leader podcast. Here's your host, Gary Durbin.
Welcome to the More Than a Worship Leader podcast, where we talk about worship ministry in the local church. Today with me is Dave Helmuth. Dave grew up as a missionary's kid in Costa Rica and then went on to get his music degree at the University of Texas. He spent years as a worship leader for several different churches, and he's also the visionary leader of Ad-Lib Music. And his passion is to develop leaders, coaching them to become masters at creating spaces in which people can meet with God. Since September of 2019, he's lived in Costa Rica with his wife, Heather, and their 7 children. So, Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. That's a really fun intro. Love it. Good to be here.
Well, I emphasize 7 children because, that's a lot of kids. So
I
how is
usually I
that?
usually say just 7. Just
Oh,
7.
okay. Yeah.
Or as my 16-year-old says, yeah, 6, 7 kids. I don't know. Sorry.
6, 7. Yeah. Oh,
All the
well,
time.
it's all good. All
But yes,
good.
sir.
Tell me the ages of your kids.
So youngest is 1. She just turned 1 2 months ago. And then 7, 10, 13, 16, 18, and 19.
All right. Wow. 1 to
Yeah.
19.
1 to 19. Yeah.
So much
Yeah.
wisdom you guys have
And
when
no
it comes
hair.
to parenting. Wow. I mean, you've got the broad spectrum going on right now. That's pretty
It is.
wild.
I'm so we're in diapers, and I'm taking my oldest son up to Liberty to do college for the weekend next month. So it's pretty trippy. But it's
Goodness.
it's a blast.
Goodness.
It's so fun. Like, I never thought I'd have a big family. The funny thing is that my wife thought we'd have maybe 4. I thought we would have maybe 3. So we did. We have 7, 4 and 3. But it's so cool to have a broad range like that. Like, I love a huge family, even though it's not what I was dreaming of. It's awesome. And then, like, they all know how to play instruments, so we do worship together, and it's just, oh, it's the best. It's the best. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Very cool. Tell me about Heather. You guys, how long have you guys been married?
We got married in 2005, so 20 years. It'll be 21 years in October, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
congratulations.
I feel really old.
Amen. That's
But
that's
yeah,
a that's an amazing landmark. So congratulations on that.
yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Well, can you give us a quick rundown of your path to and through ministry?
Yeah, I feel like I always grew up in church because my parents were missionaries here in Costa Rica, and then we were church planners in Texas. So it was really natural for me to get in. I started as a drummer, playing music, and then learned guitar. And then when I was 18, my senior pastor's wife, yeah, was the worship leader, and she was having her 4th kid. She said, "Okay, Dave, I'm done. You're now our worship leader." I was like, "I'm 18 years old, small church." I was like, "Okay." And so I got thrown in to doing that, and it molded me, it shaped me in a lot of ways. And that, for me, it's like I then went to college to learn music. I went to worship conferences. I used to go to a lot of Kent Henry conferences, and old dude up in St. Louis. I would go to all of his conferences, and that taught me a lot about worship. And then I've always been kind of a person of the secret place. Like, I've just loved to meet with God, not leading people, just being with my instrument, sitting in there and learning about Him in the secret place. So that's kind of my path into ministry. It feels like I never wasn't in
Mm,
ministry. So yeah.
hmm In a secret place, I want to say I know a Kent Henry song. Is it "In the Secret"? Is that right? Is that one of
He
his?
he no, he didn't do it. I don't think he did it. Actually, I think there was an integrity record called Secret Place
Okay.
that he did. But
hmm
um, Awesome in This Place is a song that he didn't write, but
mm
he covered and made popular. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. So tell us about ad lib music.
Yeah, so I had been leading for 12 years about leading worship. I had moved up to Pennsylvania by this point, and I was on staff at two different churches because one had a service on Thursday, one was on Sunday, so I could be on staff both places. I was single, had lots of time. And I loved what I was doing, but I just, my dad was always a very regional leader. He didn't care what church you were from, what denomination you were part of. He just wanted to connect and encourage you. And so I have that same desire and passion. And so I was like, man, there's so many leaders who are like I was 12 years ago, just trying to figure it out and trying not to die, as a worship leader, because you just don't know what you're doing. You just trying to do your best week in and week out. And so I thought, is there a way that I could help these leaders and walk alongside of them, strengthen them, teach them, and like do that for a living? Because anybody can go, help a buddy out, but like I would love to do this for a living. So I had a friend who was a business coach, and he kind of helped me think through the logistics of things. And so I started this worship coaching organization back in 2002, 24 years ago, which is crazy also. So I did that by myself, part-time, for a number of years while doing all sorts of other odd jobs. And then in 2009, I launched in full-time to doing it. And then 2013, I started bringing coaches onto the team, which really changed the game completely because like I have my skill set, I have the things I'm good at, I have the people that I know, and bringing other coaches in started like, whoa, now we can do this, we can help with that. So that's where it started. Today we're, in Pennsylvania, Texas, Colorado, South Dakota, and I lead them from Costa Rica. There's ten coaches working with us right now. And so we are the basic of what we do, the thing that's different about us, there's a lot of different organizations and companies that do training for worship, that do provide resources, create videos. Our approach is very relational, long term. We just like to know you, to be in your church, to walk alongside of you for, a year or two at a time. So we'll do like one-on-one coaching sessions. We'll come to your rehearsal and do kind of a rehearsal coaching, we call it. But we just like to be in your space, get to know you and your team, and help you walk forward. So that's kind of what we do, who we are, what Ad Lib Music is.
Hmm. Uh, you do a lot of traveling with that yourself?
Some I'll go and speak at conferences or do like go do retreats for a worship team. That's one of my favorite things to do is go and meet a team and spend a weekend with them out on retreat. It's super fun. So I'll do that, traveling for that. We do local worship training workshops. So I'll be up in Pennsylvania next month, doing that on the 18th. So like just a day training for the churches in the area, which is super cool. This is our third one we've done in Pennsylvania, so they're going really well. It's fun. And I try to, it's like it's easy to get to places from Costa Rica. It's a pretty easy flight in. And I love to take my kid, one of my kids along to experience that with their dad, and that's been really cool. So, yeah.
That's great. What have you found as far as like when you think about worship teams that you're encountering, what have you found is like a common challenge that they're facing in most churches?
So as coaches, we're always given the like we call it the presenting problem. Like they brought me in because of this, but you get there and you're like, guys, that's not your problem. Like there's these other things below the surface that need to be dealt with. And so for me, what do I see often is um, there is there is a lack of understanding. Having been in worship leading for a long time, uh, the way I got in and the foundation that was built when I was there starting is kind of different than it is now. Like now there's all this flash, there's all this production, there's all this cool stuff. Like the music's great. Um, but do we know why we're doing this? Do we have the relationship built with the Lord? Do we have a friendship with God? Or are we just doing stuff that we've seen online? And so the thing that I am always thinking about and notice in teams is, um, do I have a foundation? Do I understand biblical worship? Do I have a relationship with God? Is that a living thing? Because, I'll watch a live stream sometimes and I'm like, it feels like they're not singing to Jesus or singing to the congregation. They're encouraging, and I understand that we're leading people, but there's this lack of a vertical connectedness in what we're doing. And one of our main approaches as coaches, is we try to look at the team for who they are and try to say, okay, what if this team was like firing on all cylinders, if they were doing the best they could be with who they are, what would that look like? And then where are the gaps there? Sometimes it's a relationship gap. You can tell if they're together, they're working, but do they like each other? Is there something there's not really the sense of family, community, belonging. Or maybe it's like, man, you guys don't know how to use your in-ears. You can't play together because you can't hear each other right, or you can't hear, you have wedge monitors and you just like whatever. There might be a technical issue that you're saying, like, this is the gap that you have. It might be that you're just disorganized and you're unprepared. And so you show up to rehearsal and it's not a rehearsal, it's a practice. You're all practicing your instruments for the first time. It's like, so I'm always asking the question, like, what is it that is the gap? Um, and so understanding about what's going on really, and the friendship with God, I think those are the two big things that you see a lot. And it's not because we're not well intentioned, because we don't love God, it's not like that. It's just you know, the good and bad of what we can see online these days is like you see the end result of 10 years of struggle and and meeting with God where nobody's seeing you, and all you see is the 10-year product of that. And so you're like, "Ooh, I want to do that. That's cool." You're like, "Do you want to go do you know what they had to go through to get there?" Like, so um yeah, those are some of the things that I see in teams. And it's not, I mean, honestly, I think often we overcomplicate things, because there's a certain pressure and expectation to look a certain way because of what we see, and it's just a trap, man. So we don't need all that. It's okay to use all that stuff. One of the breakouts we're doing at this conference is called high production and high praise. Like, they're not mutually exclusive. You can be amazing, you can melt people's faces off and still have like this amazing connection with God. Yeah. Or you can not. So anyway,
Right.
long answer to your question, but
No, that's
that's
good. Yeah, I think with worship ministry, um, possibly in particular, uh, we can we can easily forget the ministry part.
hmm.
Ministry to the Lord, ministry to the church,
Mhm.
because there's so much focus. And like you said, and I appreciate you saying that there's pressure
Yeah.
um, for the high production, for the end result, and we forget about the journey to that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate your
Yeah.
thoughts on that and your heart for that. That's good stuff. So our connection started with your team reached out to me about your book that
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't did you just put this book out? When
In
did it go out?
October. Yeah, October last year.
October.
Yeah.
It's called Five Faders, and I was able to go through that and really love the concept. So can you give a quick summary of the book and why you wrote it?
Yeah, for sure. So the five faders is basically says this. Everybody is motivated by one of five things. Artist. Artist is someone who notices the nuance of things. A shepherd that considers every individual. The priest that overflows with simple love and pure devotion to Jesus, the educator that wants to bring out the best in others, and the producer that has the superpower of planning. They plan to transcend the usual limits. And so the faders is another way of saying, what am I passionate about? Excuse me, what drives me, what motivates me? It answers the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? And um, and so if I don't understand what motivates me, my passion is probably going to be blinding me to the needs around me, to the things that other people are seeing, and I'm going to come across in an unhealthy way. And so the idea of the book, it's on some level it feels like a personality test, like it feels like a an Enneagram for worship teams. But really it's not that. It's a roadmap, it's a pathway for discipleship because we want to be the best versions of ourselves. We want to be the healthiest version of ourselves. We want to help our teams be healthy as well. So the three main learnings about the five faders is that one is that if I don't know what motivates me, I'm probably going to be unhealthy in that expression in some ways. For example, if I'm an artist, I really care deeply about the music and the nuance of things. I care if the intro, if the hi-hat is completely closed, or if it starts to open up slightly to the end to build into something, you're going to feel that happening. And if the drummer doesn't do that, I'm going to notice that, right? Now, because I care about that deeply, I can become a rock star, really hard to get along with, have really long rehearsals, be super perfectionistic. Everybody around them feels like a little bit of an idiot because this person cares so deeply. Like, I'm not as good as so and so. I don't want to make the wrong, I play the wrong note or like, what I'm, and you have created this environment around you that is not positive. It's not healthy. You're not bringing anything out of people. Or that same passion can manifest in the craftsman modality, which a craftsman is somebody who takes raw materials and creates something of beauty and use. So if I take some wood that's just laying there unusable, I can craft something from that that's going to be helpful. Translation into your worship team, my guitar player didn't learn the riff for this song. And I want that riff because I care about this and it adds a certain thing to the song. I'm going to have my keyboard player play that because I know my keyboard player can handle that. The riff's still going to be there. It's still going to work. I'm going to make it happen. My drummer didn't learn the this or that. Like, it doesn't matter how my team shows up, that raw material, I'm going to get them across the finish line because I care deeply. But that's being the why, doing the why of artist in a healthy way. So that to say, I want every person to be the healthiest version of themselves. Number two is that everybody on your team is also motivated by one of those things. And you might be a shepherd, I'm sorry, you might be a priest and love to be spontaneous, to go off the page, to go off the chart. But your drummer is a producer. Your drummer has charted out his part. Like he's literally notated the song in drum notation, right? And so when you don't repeat that verse or when you don't end where he thought you were going to end, he's like, "Hey, hey, hey, what are you doing, man? You're messing up the thing. You messed up, right?" And you're like, "No, but we just want to meet with Jesus. Come on." And you're starting to conflict, right? Well, hold on a second. The Five Faders teaches me that my producer buddy brings something that we need as a team. And he's going to make us better because the producer is going to bring something special in his plan because we're going to have a thoughtful, intentional experience. Understanding how we're each motivated then allows me to help my team and gives us a language to help us work through things to become the best version of us as a team. So that's first as me personally, I need to be the best version of myself. And then this unlocks my whole team to be the best version of ourselves. And then the reality is this, they're called the five faders. They're like faders on a soundboard. You push them up and down as the moment needed because you want to have an appropriate balance. It might be that I'm the priest and I want to be spontaneous. Well, what's going to happen to my congregation? Are they going to be left in the dust? Like, are they going to stand there while Dave is singing and like, I'm not sure what to do? Or is Dave going to provide something for them? Am I going to have some producer fader slid up and say, okay, I'm gonna put something present. I'm gonna put some verses up so that when we go spontaneous on this song, here's some lyrics for you, congregation. You can sing this verse, make up a song. Um, maybe I'm gonna help my team by saying, hey, listen, guys, as my artist fader is gonna slide up and say, do some improvisation here on this song, what we're going to do is play the chords from the chorus. That's all we're going to do. You guys know exactly what that feels like. Just follow that and loop that until I stop us. So I need to be aware that I'm looking at the world in a certain way, but not everybody else is. And I need to turn other faders up and down because the thing that sets this outside of being a personality test is that we all have every fader, or we all need to learn how to turn up and down the other faders to be appropriately balanced. Um, so that's the 2 minute overview of the faders and the why I wrote it. It really came out. I was coaching a group of four worship leaders, and when we're coaching, we're always trying to asks what I call side door questions. So instead of saying, "So how's it going, man?" When I'm coaching somebody, I'll say, "Well, so what are you learning about leadership?" A completely different question that has them thinking, "Well, what am I learning about leadership?" Not like, "Oh, how am I feeling?" Like, "What am I learning? I should be learning about leadership. I should be learning about leadership, shouldn't I?" Like, anyway, so I asked the question. So on the spectrum to from rock star to gardener, how do you think at rehearsal? And what I was trying to ask was when that guy shows up and didn't learn the part, how do you react? Are you like, oh, now I have to do my job and your job too? This guy, man, when is he going to learn? Right? Or are you like, I thought you probably would show up and not have everything. I know I can show you how to play that right now. Let me take a minute and educate you in this way. I'm a gardener. I expect to have some weeds to pull, some fertilizer to give, some watering to do. That's just part of my job. I'm at a rehearsal. I'm here to help. And so I was trying to ask that. And as we talked about it, these other faders, they weren't faders at the time, started popping up, and we had this huge discussion. And I was just like, they could tell that I was like I had discovered gold. Like it literally is what it felt like. This is a treasure. What is this, God? And so it very quickly kind of birthed into the five faders concept, and that was 2018. So it took 7 years of development, tweaking, changing the verbiage, teaching at different places, figure out what works, what doesn't work, until it finally came out into the book form. So that's the
That's really
story.
cool. Yeah, I don't know if you've thought about developing that like in a video teaching or something like that, but seems like a pretty cool curriculum concept.
Mm.
So yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the idea of valuing too. You're valuing everyone. That
Yeah.
it's that's what it's the mosaic of the church, right? We all bring something different to the table to the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah. And
Love
that's, I feel like it's so common that our differences separate us, because we don't understand what it is. We just know you're different. Like, she always just wants to talk to everybody, always wants to do chit chat. I'm like, could you just stop? We want to play, man. Well, why? Like, do you want to be a part of a team where you feel like you belong? Or do you just want to show up with a bunch of strangers and play on Sunday? Like I'm hopeful that this begins to reframe people's perspectives so that we can really value people, value each other on our team. So absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely identified with the shepherd and producer. So that's the one I kind of
Okay.
keyed in on for myself. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, if I was gonna pinpoint, that's probably where I'm at. So yeah.
Do you know what was the thing that you're like, I think that's probably why for you?
Uh I can't remember exactly what I read, but I kind of put a note down that I myself I'm more concerned with the spiritual and organizational side of things. As
Yeah.
far as priorities.
Yeah.
Um, as a worship leader, I have to be concerned with the art. That I mean that's part of my job, and
Yeah.
I love the art. But especially as I've gotten older and gotten into more of a pastoral role, yeah, I'm naturally organizational minded. Like, I'm
Okay.
admin, so
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. And that's I think the original name for producer was organizer, which is kind of, that's the heart of it. You just think that way. You think logically, you think sequentially, you think in a non-haphazard way. And yeah, I think you bring up something that's really important is that you can think that only artists make the good music, or you can think that I'm exempt from XYZ, but the reality is we all have to do everything in worship ministry, scheduling people, recruiting, choosing songs, like everything. But it's why we do it. Because so if I'm the shepherd and I'm picking songs, I'm not going to be thinking necessarily, where is this in our rotation, or what is the Lord telling me about this, or what skill do I want my people to be learning this week, or what's the cool new song I might be thinking like, who do I have on my team and what are they going to play well? Because I want them to feel confident. That's that shepherd saying, I'm caring for my team. I'm considering every individual on my team in my activity of scheduling or planning songs. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, how can people find the book? How can they follow you and find you with AdLib Music? What's the best ways?
Yeah, so adlibmusic.com is our website. There's a link at the top of that to go to Amazon to get, the book's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever books are sold. Um, and the one thing that people can do is on our website, you can sign up for the Worship Fertilizer, which is it's a weekly email that we send out. We've been sending it out since 2009, which is crazy. 471 worship fertilizers have gone out. It's just a free weekly email that is meant to encourage, equip, some kind of a training. I always try to write them in such a way that it's not just like a here's how to do this, but there's some story to it, so it's kind of interesting and fun. But that's a great way to stay in touch. If the team, if you want to buy copies for all your team to kind of go through the book as a team, because for me, the best way is like, hey, let's do a retreat. Have me in. Let me teach this to your team, and we can talk through it as a team. If that's not something you want to do, you could buy a copy for your team, and you get if you buy 10 or more, you get 10% off. So that's a little savings for your team. But you can buy the books if you buy them on Amazon, you just pay the normal price. But if you can buy them through the website, then you get 10% off. So the fertilizer and books for your teams. And we're
Yeah,
all of our social links are there too: Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff.
so go to adlibmusic.com to get if you want to buy a bulk amount of the books, that's where you
Yeah.
get the discount at. So,
Yep.
very
Yep.
cool. Well, Dave, thanks so much, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. And
Yeah.
I'm the whole time I've been looking at the backdrop you got there. I'm kind of envious of beautiful Costa Rica. Um, but yeah, I'm really grateful for that you made the time to be here and to share your heart and all that you guys are doing to Adlib Music, and love the book, and hope everyone who's listening to this will go check that out. So thanks
Cool.
again, Dave.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode. Please add this to your podcast list, review it, and share it with others. And don't forget about Gary's books, More Than a Worship Leader and More Than a Band, available on Amazon today.